Good morning and welcome to Mobile Device Manager Plus training. Firstly, let me introduce myself. I am Achyutan and I'm happy to be your trainer for today. Before we can start off, I'd like to know whether you're able to hear my voice and see the presentation. Please confirm the same by commenting on chat. So I'm still waiting for your confirmation before I can actually start off. If you can hear my voice, please confirm the same. Thank you folks for your confirmation. Now let me kick off. Mobile Device Manager Plus training program is a 2-week training program aimed at facilitating better understanding of all the features that MDM has on offer. We are in week 1 today, where we'll be seeing app management and device security. All the details regarding our training sessions as well as the training videos will be available in this link here. In addition to that, we'll be mailing you the recording of this session. So without further ado, let us look into the training agenda for today's exciting training session. This is the training agenda in a nutshell. Firstly, we'll have an overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus for those who are unfamiliar with how the product actually works. So this training session incorporates a problem. This training session incorporates problem solution approach, whereby I have taken a few scenarios that I've encountered in our support. The first such scenario that we'll be seeing is app management. Under app management, first we'll see how MDM helps you with the complete lifecycle management of an app. This includes installation, update, and deletion of business apps. Then we'll have a look at kiosk mode. Single-purpose devices are finding an exponential level of usage in organizations. We'll see how MDM helps you with that. The second scenario for today will be device security. With the recent hype around GDPR, most organizations have started to take serious thinking about device security. We'll see how MDM helps you achieve that. Here, firstly, we'll see how MDM helps you identify the location of the managed devices as well as troubleshoot issues on the fly. Next up, we'll be looking at containerization. So with more and more personal devices percolating into the organization, containerization seems to be the ideal solution, whereby the organization can take control of the corporate data without worrying about the personal data. We'll see how MDM helps you with containerization. This will be followed by OS update management. We'll see what are the perils of running an outdated version of OS and how MDM can help you with that. Then we'll have a look at content management, which is MDM's offering for secure distribution of confidential documents. So all these security schemes are fine when the device is in your hand, but what happens in case the device is lost or misplaced? We'll see the solutions provided by MDM for the same. This will be followed by a quick look at few scenarios and a solution. We'll end this session with the questions that have been posed by the customers. In case you've got any queries, please don't hesitate to post it on chat. I've got an expert panel waiting here, ready to answer your questions. Now, firstly, we'll have a look at overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus. This will provide you with an idea about MDM. Mobile Device Manager Plus can be used for managing smartphones and tablets running on iOS, Android, and Windows. In case of Windows, you can additionally manage desktops as well as laptops. It is available as an add-on to ManageEngine Desktop Central, an integrated desktop and mobile management solution. We are also available as a standalone mobile-only management solution which is again available on premises as well as on cloud. Let us understand the mobile device manager plus architecture. This will provide you with a wholesome idea about how MDM actually works. As you can see here, the architecture consists of three important components, namely the MDM server, the notification services, and the managed devices. As you can see here, the server doesn't directly contact the device. Instead, it contacts the notification service, which in turn wakes up the device, after which the device interacts with the server. As you can also see, the notification services are platform dependent with Apple Push Notification Service or APNS for iOS, Google Cloud Messaging Service or GCM for Android, and Windows Notification Service or WNS for Windows. As the devices to be managed are mobile and are always on the go, it is recommended that you NAT your internal IP address with an external IP address. For those of you who are worried about security and the threats that arise from exposing the network, you can optionally configure a secure gateway. As the name suggests, secure gateway ensures that all the incoming communications to the server are routed through itself before actually reaching the MDM server, thereby adding an extra layer of security. Additionally, you can also configure Active Directory for authentication purpose. As we just saw, there seems to be a lot of communication happening in the MDM setup. So how was this communication actually taking place? This takes place thanks to ports. Ports facilitate the communication that is happening on the MDM setup. For example, the device to MDM server takes place on the secure HTTPS channel on port 9383. The MDM server to notification services uses port 2195 in case of APNS and 443 in case of GCM or WNS. The device to notification services uses these ports. As you can see, certain communications are happening only on premises for which you need to open ports. Now you must be curious as to how MDM actually manages the devices. In case of iOS devices and Windows, it leverages the native MDM client that is present on the device to manage them. In case of Android devices, you require the ME-MDM app to be installed on the device for management. This brings us to the end of the overview. Now we look at the first scenario, which is app management, and more specifically, we look at how to install and manage business apps. Assume I'm an IT administrator of an organization Zilker with a predominant mobile-only workforce. In such a scenario, it is the duty of the IT administrator to ensure that all the corporate devices are running the requisite apps as well as running on the latest versions by constantly updating them. This seems to be a cumbersome task for an IT administrator, and let us see how MDM helps you with that using its module, App Management. This is how app management works in MDM. Basically, you build an app repository containing store apps and enterprise apps required in your organization. Store apps refers to those apps that are easily available for public download on the internet, whereas enterprise apps are those apps that are specific to your organization. Once you have built the app repository, the next step is to distribute it to the devices. In case of the store app, the devices contact the respective store to initiate installation. In case of enterprise apps, the devices contact the server back to proceed with the installation. We'll see how this is done on the MDM server. So I'll take you to the MDM server. I'll click on Device Management from the top menu. Now from the left menu, I'll be selecting App Repository. As stated previously, App Repository includes all those apps which you wish to distribute to the managed devices. Now I'll be adding a new app here, so I'll click on Add App. As stated previously, these are all the apps which you can add to the app repository. Since I'll be adding an iOS App Store app, I select the same. Now, first up, I'll type in the app name, which is Zoho CRM. And once I do that, the MDM server actually contacts the Apple App Store to fetch the list of apps with respect to the name that I've typed. For this purpose, you need to whitelist the Apple App Store on your firewall. Once I've selected the app, the bundle identifier and the Apple Store ID are automatically prefetched. In case you're not based in the US, you can choose to change your country by selecting this Change Region option present at the top right. The next section contains app policies, which provides you with two very interesting settings. The first setting, Remove App on MDM Profile Removal, ensures that this app gets automatically uninstalled when the user revokes management. The second setting is that it is restricting backup for app data in iTunes and iCloud. This ensures that any data related to this app is stored only within the device and not shared to any third-party services such as iTunes and iCloud. This is especially useful in case your app deals with confidential corporate data. The third section is configurations. This is one big benefit with distributing apps via MDM. When you're distributing an app, you can also pre-configure the settings of the app and distribute it along with the app to ensure that the app is automatically configured without the user having to do anything. Once the app is installed, the app is ready to use from the get-go. It is also to be noted that the app configurations can be added only if given provisions by the app developer. Once you have configured that, click on Save. This app will be added to the app repository, and the next step is to distribute it to the devices or groups. It is always recommended that you distribute the app to one device, see if it works fine, and then distribute it to the group. So firstly, I'll distribute this app to a device. To do that, I click on Groups and Devices from the left pane and click on the Devices tab. Here, all the devices that have been enrolled with MDM are listed. So I'll select a device, click on Action, and click on Distribute Apps. Now I'll select the app here, which is a Zoho Creator. And there are two interesting settings present under Distribution option, which we'll see later. Now I'll click on Select. As you can see, the app has been distributed to the device. Now, how will I, the IT administrator, know whether the installation has been initiated or completed? Simple. All you do is click on the device name and click on the Apps tab. Here, all the apps that are distributed to this device is listed. Look at the execution status and the remarks that are present against the app. This states whether the installation has been initiated, is in progress, or has not been started. If the execution status says it's been succeeded, it implies that the installation has been successfully completed. The execution status is yet to apply, which means that the app installation is yet to take place and the user has to install the app. Now let us see what happens on the device end. As you can see, the user needs to open the ME-MDM app and click on the app catalog. Here, all the apps that have been distributed to this device is listed. Next up, the user clicks on the install button, after which he is asked to provide his iTunes credentials. Once the credentials are validated, the installation is initiated and the status changes from install to installing. The status change here is reflected in near real time on the MDM server. Once the installation is complete, the app moves from the Yet to Install tab to the Installed tab. Now, as you have seen in this installation method, every device must be provisioned with an iTunes account to even initiate app installation. Similarly, user intervention is still required to complete app installation. Though the distribution is taken care of by the IT administrator, still the user needs to manually perform some steps to complete the app installation. So which brings us to the question as to whether MDM allows automating app installation. Now let us think about two more questions. Assuming the users are non-technical in such a way that they might not even know what is an iTunes account or how to configure an iTunes account. And in case of large-scale organizations, you might have to distribute the app to thousands of devices and ask the users to initiate installation. This furthers the need for automating app installation. And yes, MDM does allow you to automate app installation. In case of iOS devices, this can be achieved using volume purchase program. And in case of Android devices, it can be achieved using Play for Work. We'll look at each of these methods in greater detail one by one. But before that, let us understand the benefit of configuring VPP and Play for Work. The first benefit is that you build your own enterprise app repository, which contains only those apps that have been approved by the organization. These might be the store apps that are available for public download, or in-house apps, the apps that have been specifically designed for your organization. In addition to that, you can also choose to restrict users from installing any other unauthorized app, ensuring complete data security. So first up, we'll look at Apple Volume Purchase Program. Apple Volume Purchase Program is a program designed by Apple for bulk distribution and silent installation of apps at a large scale. This is how Volume Purchase Program has the advantages. Firstly, it lets you whitelist and approve only those apps that are required by the organization. It also lets you manage the licenses of paid apps, and it can also be revoked and reassigned as per your need. Additionally, it also lets you control the app updates of the apps that have been distributed and installed on a managed device. So what are the prerequisites for VPP? The first prerequisite is that you need to create an account with VPP. The next step is that the devices must be supervised. Supervision provides the administrator with additional control and extra features. We learn more about supervision in the next week's training session. So this is how volume purchase program works in MDM. Firstly, you integrate VPP with MDM server by providing your VPP account. Then you purchase or approve apps on the VPP portal. Since the VPP and MDM server are integrated, you're essentially adding apps to the app repository present on the MDM server. Then you distribute the apps that you have purchased to the devices, which automatically gets installed on the device. The first three steps are admin performed and are one time. Now let us see how this is to be actually done. So I'll take you to Apple VPP portal and click on the business tab. And I'll select the drop down by clicking on my account name and click on account summary. And then I click on download token. As soon as I click on download token, S token is downloaded. This token contains all my account details as well as the apps that I've purchased using this account. This token acts as a bridge between the VPP server and the MDM server. Once this token is uploaded in the MDM server, all the apps you have purchased using VPP is shown. Now I'll take you to the server to see how this happens. So I'll click on app repository and click on iOS VPP distribution. As you can see, I've already configured VPP here, but for your benefit, I'll take you to another instance of the server. So I'll click on device management, and click on app repository, and click on Apple VPP distribution, and click on configure now. So here, you need to upload the S token that you have downloaded and ensure that the app installation type is selected as without Apple ID. This ensures that the user is not prompted for an Apple ID to initiate installation. Instead, the installation is initiated automatically, ultimately ending with the silent app installation. The S token that has been uploaded expires within an year. To receive notification regarding its expiry, you need to provide email addresses. So once you have done, you can click on save, and once you have saved, the apps that you have purchased with this account gets automatically synced. As you can see here, I have purchased 2 apps and these apps have been synced. Now let me show you how to actually purchase an app in VPP portal. So we'll go back to the VPP portal, and in the search bar, provide the app name. We'll again use Zoho CRM for this example and click on search. And select the app from the results. Now, once I have done that, so before you can actually place the order, you need to provide the quantity. Quantity here refers to the number of devices to which you want to distribute this app to. In iOS VPP, you need to provide this quantity, which in turn lets you purchase licenses irrespective of whether the app is a free app or a paid app. But before you can specify the quantity, there's one more important thing that you need to notice, which is if the app is listed as device assignable. Device assignable is mandatory for silent installation of iOS apps. Once you have verified that, provide the quantity and click on Review Order. And then click on Place Order to complete the purchase. Once you have completed the purchase, the app gets automatically synced with MDM during the daily sync. In case you want to add it immediately, I'll tell you how to go about that. So I'll take you back to the server and then click on Sync Apps. So any app that I've purchased recently gets automatically added to the app repository and is ready for distribution. Now, as you can see, the syncing is done, and all the apps that I have purchased using VPP will be added here. Now, let us see how to distribute the app for silent installation to the devices. So as I've already shown you how to distribute an app to a device, I'll show you how to do it for a group. So you select a group, click on Action, click on Distribute Apps. Now I select the app, so CRM, and ensure that the distribution option states that the app should be installed automatically. Only if this option is selected does silent installation occur. You can also choose to optionally notify users via email once you have distributed the app. Now let us see what happens on the device end. As you can see, there has been no user action and the installation has automatically been initiated, as you can see here. And then the installation is complete as well. Now let me show you another interesting thing. I'll take you back to the MDM server. Click on App Repository and click on Apple Store App and click on Zoho Creator. I'm very sorry, just one second. I'll click on just search for the app, Apple Store App. And here, once I click on any app I have listed here, all the licenses that I have purchased in the VPP portal is shown. Since this app has been directly added using manual installation method, the licenses aren't shown. In case you have purchased the app using VPP, the licenses as well as the licenses that have been used are listed here. So I'll take you back to the server again. So what are the recommendations in case of silent installation? Barring the obvious need that the device must be connected to the internet, it is always recommended that the device is connected to a Wi-Fi connection in case you're distributing apps of humongous sizes. Here by humongous, I mean greater than 100 MB. Now, there comes another question. I already told you the advantage of PPP that you can actually control app updates. But why should you actually control app updates? There are two reasons, namely security and productivity. The updated version of the app may be the patch for the existing serious security issues, thereby improving security. And in case of productivity, the latest version might patch whatever bugs or operation issues that were existing. Now we'll see how to manage app updates on the MDM server. Once you go to app repository, all the apps that have an update available are automatically listed on the top. Now you click on the number. The app that has an update available is listed. Now you click on the app. You can choose to update the app for all the devices to which it has been distributed, or you can choose to do it on a device-to-device basis by clicking on the update icon that is present against each of the device. Now, once you have done, you can additionally choose to have the update installed silently as well. I'll click on update app. Now the update will also take place silently. Next method that we'll be seeing is for Android, which is Google Play for Work. Google Play for Work is Android's equivalent of Apple DEP that has been created by Google for pretty much the similar purpose, which is silent installation of Android apps. So what are the prerequisites for Play for Work? Similar to VPP, you need to create an account with Google Play for Work, which acts as the bridge between Play for Work and the MDM server. The next condition is that the devices must be running Android 5.0 or later versions. Now, this is how Play for Work actually takes place in MDM. Firstly, you need to integrate Play for Work with MDM server by providing a Play for Work account. The next step is to purchase or approve apps in Play for Work. Once you do that, since Play for Work is integrated with MDM server, the apps are essentially being approved on the app repository. Once the apps have been added to the app repository, the next step is to distribute the apps to the devices where they get automatically installed. The first three steps are once again admin performed and are one time. Now let me take you to the server and tell you how this takes place. So before going to the server, we'll have to obviously create a Play for Work account. But even for that, there are certain conditions. So I'll take you back to the server and click on App Repository again and click on Android for Work. As you can see, we've already configured an account here, but I'll take you to another instance to show you how this is done. You can choose to configure Android for Work either using G Suite or without G Suite. G Suite is an integrated bundle provided by Google. In case you want to configure Android for Work using simply a Google account, you can choose this option, register without G Suite. Once you are done, you will be redirected to the Play for Work page. Here, first you need to sign in with the Google account. I've already done that, and then I click on Get Started. So once I have clicked on that, I need to provide the organization name, ensure that the EMM partner is correct, which is ManageEngine EMM, and then agree to the Manage Google Pay agreement and click on Confirm. Once that is done, the syncing happens and Android for Work is successfully configured, and you can see all the relevant details regarding Android for Work, such as domain name, the domain admin account listed here. Now let us see how to actually purchase an app using Android for Work. So we'll go back to Play for Work, and in the search bar provided, give an app name. Again, we'll be using the same example, Soho CRM. Click on the search button, select CRM from the results. Unlike iOS VPP, in case of free app, you can choose to approve the app once and ensure it gets distributed to devices any number of times. Here by approve, it means you're essentially purchasing the app. So I click on approve. Once you have clicked on approve, all the permissions that are required by the app is listed here. Make a note of all these permissions because I'm going to show you another interesting feature with regards to the app permissions. Once you verify the permissions, I click on approve again. Once I've clicked that, the app gets automatically added and will be synced to the app repository during the daily schedule sync. In case you want to add it immediately, you will have to manually sync the apps. To do that, click on app repository, click on sync apps, click on sync Play Store apps. So all the apps that you have recently purchased gets automatically added here. So let me show you a very interesting feature that I told about app permissions. So I'll click on this app, so CRM, and click on permissions. As you can see, all the permissions that were shown on the Play for Work page is listed here. But the real benefit is that you can choose to pre-configure these permissions as well. In case I want to deny the permission, the phone permission for Zoho CRM, I can choose to deny it right from my server instead of asking the user to do so. In certain cases, I can leave the permission to be configured by the user themselves. So for this purpose, I can choose to have the permission as user control, which I have done for location. I want Zoho CRM app to have access to storage, microphone, and contacts. So I've given it as allow in all three cases. Once I've done that, I click on save. As you can see, the permissions has been saved, and this permission gets distributed along with the app to the devices. Now, as I already explained the distribution part, let us directly go and see what happens on the device. Similar to iOS, there is no user intervention or action required. The work account gets added and the installation gets initiated instantly and automatically. As you can see, the installation is complete. Once the installation is complete, you open that app and you can see that the permissions that we have pre-configured on the MDM server are shown here. As stated, some certain permissions have been allowed and the user cannot change it, and similarly certain permissions are denied and the user cannot change these as well. You can see a red briefcase icon listed shown here. I'll tell you what it is later during this session. So you must be wondering, we have been talking about store apps all along, but what if you have in-house apps? Organizations have started using apps that are specific to their purpose and are not available anywhere else on the internet. So what happens in case you have such apps? Do you need a VPP or a Play for Work account for such a purpose? Though VPP account and Play for Work supports silent installation of enterprise apps, in case your only objective is to silently install in-house apps, you need not configure any of these. But still, there are certain prerequisites. In case of iOS devices, the devices must be supervised. And in case of Android devices, the devices must be either Samsung or must be provisioned as device owner. Device owner is the Android equivalent of supervision, which provides the administrator with additional control and extra features. Now let me show you how to add an enterprise app to the app repository. So I'll take you back to the server again, and I'll be adding an Android enterprise app for this purpose. So I'll click on Add App and select Android Enterprise App. So first up, I provide an app name, which is C Delivery. And then I add the source file, which is the APK of the enterprise app. Now, once I've done, MDM automatically fetches the app details and provides the bundle identifier and the app version. Then all you need to do is to provide the category and the supported devices. Now, what happens in case there's an update for this enterprise app? As you know, these apps are not publicly available, so the users cannot update themselves from the store. So there's a pretty simple solution for this as well. All you need to do is to add the updated source file here. Once you do that, you can see that the app version has been incremented automatically. Now I click on Save. The app gets added to the app repository and it's ready for distribution. Pretty simple, huh? This brings us to the second scenario in app management. How can you whitelist specific apps on corporate devices? This is a necessity for single-purpose devices. As you know, single-purpose devices have been finding an increased level of usage in organizations in the recent years. Be it for POS or for digital signage, there is a strong requirement for devices that are logged to a particular app as well as a particular set of settings. Now we'll see how MDM lets you achieve this using Kiosk. Kiosk in MDM lets you provision either a single app or a set of apps to the devices. It also lets you pre-configure device settings over the air and ensures that the device user cannot modify these settings. Now let us understand this through a scenario. Assume my organization Silker has a logistics division where a supervisor that is sitting in the office assigns the trips using an app to the drivers. Driver uses two apps, an app to know where the trips have been, what are the trips that have been assigned, and an app for navigation purpose. Now let us see how this can be done using MDM server. So I'll take you back to the server again, and now I'll click on profiles from the left pane. I can create profile for any of the platforms that MDM supports, but for this purpose, I'll be clicking on Android. I'll provide a meaningful name and click on continue. The list of policies that are supported for Android by MDM are listed on the left side. From here, I'll be choosing kiosk. So let me first configure this for the supervisor. So since the supervisor requires only a single app, the kiosk mode will be a single app kiosk mode. The allowed app in this case will be Z Delivery. I do not want to modify any of the settings, so I choose to have allow for all of them. Now what happens in case of the driver? All you need to do is change the kiosk mode to multi-app, since the driver will be requiring two apps, and list the two apps. One of them is Z Delivery and the other is Maps. Once I've done that, I'll click on Save, by which the policy is saved, and then I click on Publish to publish this profile. This profile is now ready for distribution. To distribute this profile to devices, I'll click on this link present here. Select the groups drivers, click on Action, click on Associate Profile, and then I select the profile that I've created and click on Select. Now any device that falls into this group will be automatically distributed this profile over the air. Now we'll see what happens on the device end. This is the supervisor's device. As you can see, the supervisor has access only to the single app Z Delivery. In case of the driver, he has the option of navigating between Z Delivery and Google Maps. Now staying with the same case, what if the supervisor needs to know all the locations that has been traversed by the driver over a period of time? This is a usual scenario that is seen in all organizations with logistics division. You need not have any worries, because MDM has got just the right solution for you, which is location history. I'll tell you how to configure location history on MDM server. So I'll take you back to the MDM server, click on the admin tab, and click on geo tracking. This is the complete geo tracking settings for the devices. You can choose to track devices either at all times or choose to track them only when lost. I'll want to track the devices at all times, and I'd also want the geo tracking to be done for all devices. In case you've got specific needs, you can choose to apply geo tracking for selected groups, or you can also choose to exclude specific groups from geo tracking by adding those groups here. Now I'll choose to enable location history. Once I enable that, there's another option which asks me when I need to save the location on the device moving 100 meters or 500 meters or a kilometer. Based on your need, you can choose any of these options. I'll be choosing 500 meters, and I'll click on Save Changes. Now once I've done, I need to also configure the terms of use and privacy settings. Now we'll take care of that later, but let us see how location history works. So I'll take you to the inventory. Now I'll select the device and click on geo tracking. And here all the locations, the current location of the device is shown. I have the option of switching to the Google Map as well. But currently all we are concentrating on is location. So I'll click on location history. As you can see, it shows the number of all the locations that has been traversed by the device today. Once the device travels over a sustained period of time, all the dates will be listed, and you can choose to view the locations traversed by the device on a particular day. What's more, you can also choose to obtain the history for a selected time range. In addition to that, you can also get these location coordinates as a CSV file as well. Now, let me put up a very interesting question. So what do you usually do if there are any issues on a corporate device? Simple. You call the user and fix it, or go to his place or her place and fix it. Now, let me complicate this question. What happens if the device is outside the organization with field workers? That way, you cannot obviously go to the location and have it fixed because the device isn't even in premises. Now, to further complicate this question, what happens if the field workers are not adept technically? Now, to add a cherry upon this complex cake, what happens in case what happens in case the device is provisioned under kiosk and you need to troubleshoot this device? The solution for this is remote troubleshoot. Remote troubleshoot, as the name suggests, lets you control devices over the air and lets you easily configure the fix for the device instead of asking the user to fix it. Now we'll get into action and I'll let you know how to configure remote troubleshoot on MDM server. I'll click on device management and click on remote control. All the devices that are capable of this are listed here. So I'll click on remote control for this particular device. Just 1 second. Now I clicked on remote control and I've clicked on start. Once I've clicked on start, the session gets initiated in a new app for better viewing. As you can see, the session is being established. This takes sometimes this takes time because the device is on road and the internet connection might be poor. As you can see, you can actually view the device screen here and you can choose to navigate the device from the comfort of your server. Now let me come to the real problem. The device is in kiosk and you need to get the logs of the app to actually troubleshoot it. But how do you come out of kiosk? You cannot obviously ask the user to come out of kiosk. That would be a problem. The solution again is remote chat commands. Remote chat commands lets you pass on commands to the devices from the chat window. So I'll temporarily exit kiosk using a remote chat command, which is exit kiosk. Now the device is back again. So I'll type in exit kiosk here. As you can see, the command is reached. The kiosk has been paused. As you can see, the device is temporarily out of kiosk. Now what I do is go to my files. And you can see I've got the logs here. I've got the logs here as well. I can choose to diagnose this issue. Now what about resuming the kiosk? You can do that again using the remote chat command. Now I'll show you. /enter kiosk. Now wait for the magic to happen. As you can see, the device is out of kiosk mode any moment now. As you can see, the kiosk has been resumed successfully here. And you can see the device is back to the kiosk mode again. So what you have essentially done is you have actually paused kiosk, got the logs of the files and fixed the issue and resumed kiosk, all from the comfort of your server sitting at your place despite the device being somewhere on the road. Once you have fixed this, you need to close the remote session, click on leave. Now we'll come to the next scenario, how to protect against data breaches and ensuring compliance. But before we reach the next scenario, I'd like to ask, in case you've got any questions, in case you've got any queries regarding the modules that we have passed by or about MDM in general, you can post them on the chat window. We have got an expert panel waiting here to answer your questions. So coming back to our scenario, how can you protect against data breaches and ensuring compliance, especially since it is the season of GDPR? So how can a data breach actually occur? Data breach can occur between devices when you share confidential data through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or AirDrop. It can occur when the confidential data is stored in third-party services such as Dropbox, Box, or Google Drive. It can also occur between apps when the corporate data is shared or accessed by personal apps. The solution to this is containerization. Containerization, as the name suggests, lets you isolate the personal space and the corporate space within the device by creating a logical container. The logical container ensures that the IT administrator can have complete control over the corporate space without without having any control over the personal space. This way, proper data security and data privacy is maintained. In case of Android device, this can be achieved by provisioning the device as profile owner. Once this is done, all the work apps are indicated by a red briefcase icon. These as these apps are the work apps, and the data that is present in this app will not be shared to any other unmanaged app or cannot be accessed by any other service or app as well. In case of iOS devices, a default containerization is not supported by iOS. In such a scenario, both personal apps and corporate apps exist within the same space, which can lead to a possible data breach. I'll explain this with a better example. So this is an office mail with a confidential corporate attachment. Now, once I click on that attachment, you can see I can choose to share it through AirDrop or open it with personal apps or open it with corporate apps as well. This is not a very ideal scenario for an organization that wants data security. Though containerization is not provided by iOS, MDM lets you achieve containerization by multiple restrictions. We'll see what are some of these restrictions which lets you achieve containerization on iOS devices. So I'll take you back to the server, click on profiles. Now I'll be creating an iOS profile. So I select Apple and provide a name if you want and click on continue. I go to the restrictions tab. First up, I wouldn't want the data to be shared either through screenshots or through screen recording. So I first restrict that. The next step is to restrict AirDrop as well. In case you have got stricter compliance standards, you can choose to restrict whatever you deem as necessary. Now I'll go back to security. I wouldn't want the data to be shared from managed apps to unmanaged apps. So first up, I restrict that. And I'll also restrict the vice versa case just to be safe. Similarly, I'll go to advanced security now and select no for adding or modifying of iCloud, mail, and other accounts. Once I do that, the user will be unable to add any account to the device, and thus chances of the data being shared to third-party services such as iCloud gets restricted. Similarly, I can choose to select no for iTunes pairing as well as USB connection. This ensures that the device cannot be connected to another machine using USB for sharing of data. I'll go back to network and roaming. I'll choose to restrict modify Bluetooth option. This ensures that if the Bluetooth is off, it can never be enabled again. Similarly, I would want the users to connect to the Wi-Fi configurations that has been distributed only by MDM. This ensures that the device cannot share data over unauthenticated Wi-Fi networks. So once I'm done with that, I can click on save and then click on publish. Once this profile has been published, it is ready for distribution. Now once you distribute it to the devices, let us see what happens. So once the policy has been applied, as you can see, it is pretty much the same scenario, but right now you can access this attachment only using a managed apps such as Office and MDM. Now let us come to content management, which is the offering of MDM for secure distribution of documents. As we just saw, distributing attachments or any other documents through email doesn't seem to be a very secure option of distributing documents. MDM nullifies this problem through its content management module. The benefits of content management is that it lets you securely and seamlessly distribute documents to multiple devices or groups right from the server. The other benefit is that users can view and save the documents only using MDM app. The documents that have been distributed from the server goes directly to the MDM app. From the MDM app, the user can view and save. So the chances of it being saved in any third-party service or being accessed by any other app gets completely nullified. And the last benefit is just what I stated. It cannot be accessed by any third-party service. And all of this happens without you having to install any other app or you having to move out of the server. So I'll take you back to the server to explain content management. So I'll click on content management from the left pane, and you can see these are the documents that have been already added to the content repository. Now I'll add a new document for this purpose. As you can see, you can choose to drag and drop any documents that you have, and these are the supported file formats, and the size should not exceed 300 MB. Once that is done, the document gets automatically added here. You can choose to add tags for it if need be, and also categorize them using tags. So if I click on HR here, all the documents that have been tagged with HR will be listed. Now let us see how to distribute this document to devices or groups. So I select the app, I click on action. You select the app and I click on share. Now I can choose to select the groups for distribution. So I select HR department and click on select again. The documents have been successfully distributed. So what happens in case the document has been updated? All you need to do is to select the document and click on action and click on modify. Once you update the modified version here, the modified version gets automatically distributed to the devices without any admin intervention. So where do you think content management can be most beneficially used? I'll provide you an example. It can be used in case the sales team needs access to confidential documents prior to an important meeting. Instead of sending it through email, as we just saw, it doesn't seem to be a secure method. The option is to use MDM's content management. Let us see what happens on the device end. So you can see I need to open the MDM app and click on the documents module present there. Here, all the documents that have been distributed to the device is listed. I click on the download button that is present against the app to download it, and then I view the document. As you can see, this was a scenario that I just explained. What happens in case there are changes to the terms and conditions? So how do you update? As I just explained, all you need to do is to modify the original document, post the updated version, and the updated version gets directly distributed to the devices. Which brings us to an important and pertinent feature of security, which is automating OS updates. Now, most of us don't prefer updating OS because of space constraints as well as network issues. But what are the problems of running an outdated OS version in an enterprise? The first disadvantage is that you're missing out on security patches. The recent Meltdown and Spectre problems affected a whole lot of Android and iOS devices as well. The updates were out, and most enterprise devices that missed updating were affected ultimately by Meltdown and Spectre. Similarly, as you all know, older OS versions tend to get slower with time because the companies that are making this OS stop supporting them. What are the pitfalls in case you allow the OSs to be updated simultaneously or in an ad hoc manner? In such a scenario, it leads to loss of productivity because an OS update usually takes time, and during that time, the device cannot be used for any other purpose. This leads to decrease in productivity. Similarly, in case of small and medium organizations that are using enterprise apps, it can lead to enterprise app incompatibility because the enterprise app need not be secure, need not be supporting the latest OS version. Similarly, it can also lead to bandwidth choking in case all the users try to update the OS at the same time. Now, the solution to all of this is that the IT administrator has the control over updating of the OS on the devices, and he can choose to automate that using MDM. I'll show you how to do that. So I'll take you to the server, click on Automate OS Updates. As you can see, I've already created a lot of policies for automating and distributing OSs. But for your benefit, I'll be doing it again. So I'll click on Create Policy and click on Android. As you can see, the first mandatory step is that I provide a name. So I'll provide Android Policy Pre-training. And I can choose to deploy the OS either immediately or have a delay of some time. So you must be wondering why this delay is required. This lets you distribute the OS update to a particular device, see if all the apps are working. Once you have tested, then you can deploy it to all the devices present in your organization. You can also choose to notify users regarding the updates. You can also allow the users to skip deployment in case they are held up with any busy task. You can also choose to deploy these on particular days at particular times. In case you want this OS to be deployed during non-work hours, you can do just that. So I'll want it to be deployed at any week, so I've got no preference about that. But I'll want it to be deployed on a Sunday since my organization doesn't work on a Sunday. So I've selected that. Similarly, I don't have any particular preference about the time. Once I have done that, I click on Save. Now, once I've created the policy, it is ready for distribution. So I select the policy, and I click on Distribute Policy, and select the groups. Select Contractors, and then I click on Select. The policy has been distributed to the devices. Now we'll have a recap of all the advantages of OS updates. The first and the best advantage is that it is a one-time setup. Once you have set it up on the MDM server, you need not worry about it ever again. The OS policy works for all the updates on all devices, so any future update will work based on the policy that you have configured. Similarly, MDM provides you with options for immediate, delayed, and window deployment. You can choose to have the updates deployed immediately in case there's serious security issues. You can have it delayed in case you want to test your enterprise app and then deploy it to the larger set of devices. You can choose to have it windowed in case you want the update to happen during non-work hours. You can also have the option of notifying the users of the updates to ensure that they are prepared regarding the update, change their network from mobile data to Wi-Fi if they want. And similarly, you also have the option of skipping the updates. Assuming the user is held up with a serious task, he or she can choose to skip the update for a later time. Now, all these security policies that we have discussed is all fine and cool in case the device is in the organization or is with the user. What happens in case the devices are lost or stolen? That is a seriously scary scenario. But MDM helps you with that as well. Now we'll see what MDM does in case the device is lost or stolen. So I'll take you back to the server again. And I'll take you to inventory. Here all the devices are listed. So I'll take a device. We'll first assume that the device has been misplaced. So to identify the device location, I'd want to locate the device first. So it will fetch the geographical location of the device, which will be shown in this particular tab. Once I have an approximate idea about where the device is, I'll try to find out the exact location by emitting an alarm. So I choose remote alarm. Once I click on this one, A remote alarm will be emitted from the device for me to identify its location. In addition to that, you have got a whole set of options. But what happens in case you're still not able to locate your device? This is firefighting mode, where it's safe to assume that the device has been stolen. To protect the device and prevent misuse, I'll want the device to be configured under lost mode. So I'll enable lost mode. So let us assume the best case scenario. The device is with someone and this person wants to hand over the device back to you. What solution have you got? Because you have already locked the device. You can choose to optionally have your contact number displayed on the lock screen. So the person can click on the call option present here, on which the call is set up to this particular contact number, and the person can then hand over the device to the person who has lost it. You can optionally also have a message displayed. As you can see, this is the message and this is how it will be shown on screen. When I click on next. So what happens if the device is with someone who actually knows the passcode of the device? So even if you have locked the device, the person who has the device can simply unlock it. To prevent this from happening, you can have a new passcode set up as well. Just to be safe, you can send this new passcode to the user. In addition to that, with all the compliance policies that are coming up, you can optionally audit this process of securing the lost device by providing a ticket ID and an optional message as well. I don't want to do that right now, so I simply click on locate. As you can see, the lost mode is pending, and as you can see, in an instant, the device has been marked as lost and is in lost mode right now. So when the device is in lost mode, the person that has the device cannot do anything, as the passcode has also been reset, so the device is implicitly bricked. In case you waited for some time and you still cannot get the device back, it is safe to assume that you'll never get it back, and it is better that you wipe the corporate data that is present. In case the device is a personal device, you can choose to wipe only the corporate contents present in it. In case it's a corporate device, it is recommended that you choose to erase all the data that is present on the device. Now let us see what happens on the device. As you can see, this is what the device shows in case the device is in lost mode. There's an optional message, a contact number, as well as an option to call. This brings us to the end of all the major scenarios, and we'll have a quick look at some small scenarios and their solutions. So in case you have got any queries regarding all the scenarios that I have covered today, please feel free to post them on the chat. We have got an expert panel waiting here, ready to answer your questions. So the first scenario is that, is there a way by which I remove apps that are previously available on the devices? These are the apps that have not been installed using MDM. So in case of BYOD devices, the user has already been using the device and would have some of the apps installed. But when this BYOD device comes into the organization, you wouldn't want these apps that have been previously installed to pose a risk for your corporate data. So MDM lets you achieve this by app blacklisting. So I'll take you back to the server. I'll take you back to the server. Click on apps and select an app and click on mark as blacklist. Once I click on mark as blacklist, this app is marked as blacklist, and the user and the app will no longer be used on the device. Now I'll take you to the second scenario. My organization has provided full internet access and has no restriction on any web resource to the employee. How can I restrict specific websites without affecting the usual internet activity? Since most of the organizations are using SaaS services, the need for complete access to the internet is mandatory. However, this full access also comes with a whole set of problems. What if the user is trying to access a malicious site, which can probably get access to all the corporate data in an unlawful manner? The solution again is with MDM, which is URL filtering. So I'll quickly take you to the server, device management, click on profiles. I'll create a profile for this purpose, Android, continue. and I'll click on web content filter. So I can choose to automatically restrict malicious content, and I can either choose to blacklist certain websites or allow to whitelist certain websites. When I select the whitelist options, all other options except those whitelisted sites are automatically blacklisted. And when I select the blacklist option, it is vice versa. So the third scenario is, as my workforce is extensively mobile only, we want to secure the devices with certificates. Can this be done using Mobile Device Manager Plus? Most certainly, this can be done using Mobile Device Manager Plus. So I'll take you back to the server again. As you can see, we have got certificate policy supported for Android devices. So all you need to do is to just add a certificate. And if you've already added, select that certificate, verify the details, click on save, and then it is the usual process. Scenario 4, I want to ensure that all the network communication taking place on the device is routed through a secure proxy. Can this be done? This again is a very valid requirement in case of corporate devices. The corporate devices, it is always recommended that the corporate devices have all the network communications routed through an organization compliant proxy to ensure that the data is not stolen over the network. So I'll show you how this can be done on the MDM server. All you need to do is to configure global HTTP proxy. As the name suggests, all the network communications to or from the device will be routed through this proxy. You can choose to have an automatic proxy setting or a manual proxy setting. So this brings us to the end of the scenarios. We'll have a look at the questions now. So one of our employees is forgotten his device passcode and is now unable to use this device. Can MDM help me with this? Most certainly. Most of the IT administrator receive this complaint regarding that I have forgotten my passcode and can you please help me with this? This seems to be one of the most monotonous tasks for an IT administrator. With MDM, this is just one operation away. So I'll take you back to the server again, click on inventory, select the device, and I'll click on actions that is present here. I'm not sure why it isn't showing up now. Just 1 second. So I'll show you in another device, action, and then I can choose to clear the passcode here. Once the option is selected, the passcode gets automatically reset. The second question is, we are a logistics company and we provide Android devices to our drivers for tracking purposes. Is there a way by which the users cannot disable them and it's enabled forever? This is a very common scenario again, and MDM provides you the solution for this as well. So quickly back to the MDM server, profiles. I will be creating one quickly now. Click on continue, restrictions, location settings, and ensure that the location services are always on here. It's also recommended that you choose to restrict mock location to ensure that the users are not spoofing locations. Once you are done with that, you need to save and publish the profile. Third question is, does MDM let me share contact details and calendar events to iOS devices over the air? Most certainly, this can be achieved using CardDAV and CalDAV. So I'll quickly take you back to the server. Device management again, profiles, create profile, Apple, continue. And as you can see, the option for contact sync is here and calendar sync is here. Contact sync, as I already told, is done by CardDAV and calendar sync is done using CalDAV. I want to ensure that the IT approved applications installed using MDM must not be removed by the user under any circumstance. Is it possible? Most certainly it is possible. Again, this can be achieved using a restriction. So I'll take you back to the MDM server quickly now. Restrictions, applications, and restrict this option and restrict this as well. This ensures that deleting of apps is no more an option for the users. For question 5, I want to ensure that employee devices is connected only to those secure Wi-Fi networks distributed via MDM. Can this be achieved? I already showed you this in the main scenario, but I'll be showing you once again since this is one of the most most requested customer demands on our support portal. So I'll take you back to the server, click on network and roaming, and select yes for this option. Once I select yes, it ensures that all the Wi-Fi configurations that has been distributed by MDM can be used by the device for network communication. Only these networks will always be used by the device. In case there are other unsecured devices, the device cannot connect to this particular network as it has not been distributed via MDM. This brings us to the end of this session. Once you close this session, you will be provided with a survey where you can rate this training session on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the best. In case you need a personalized demo to see what MDM has done for GDPR and security in general, you can also opt for a personalized demo. Trust me, we have been working really hard to ensure that we have proper GDPR compliance. In case you love our training sessions, you can choose to spread a word on social media. The next training will be on device enrollment and provisioning, and it will be on May 24, the same time. Thank you folks for coming in, and I hope you had an interesting and an informative session. Thanks again.